you're going to wrap up Chapter 4, Congruent Triangles, by looking at corresponding parts of congruent triangles in Section 4.7. Really what we're going to do is look at shared pieces and complex figures. So what we're going to do is decompose complex figures into separate figures and then analyze them separately instead of together. It's a very visual skill, it's not a mathematical skill, but the idea is if I have something complex, like this, you realize it's actually a combination of more simple figures. And what you have to be able to do is realize that they're really just simple figures overlapping and be able to break them apart or decompose them into the more simple figures so we can analyze them. Right now, this right here is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a concave pentagon. Don't know a lot of concave pentagons, but if you realize it, this is actually two triangles that overlap. And what you can do is imagine these being pulled apart. Understand that they're still together, they're still one figure, but you can visualize them being pulled apart and analyze them separately and realize that they have common pieces which we can use. So for instance, if you look at this right here, that side is part of both triangles once they're separated. And once you realize that, you realize you can use things like the reflexive property. So part of the task for this section, and you'll get practice at this, is to look at figures, pull them apart, and figure out which pieces they have in common, and use the reflexive property to put them back together, or combine them, so we can do stuff like proof of them. So sometimes you'll see common angles that they share, common sides. If you're really lucky, you have a common side and a common angle. But we're going to take some time, practice, pull those apart, so we'll make proof a little bit easier. So we have complex figures. We can still prove things about complex figures, understanding that most of them should be triangles put together. So go ahead. There's not going to be any proof for this particular, there's no theorems to prove, but we can use the skill to help prove things. So the practice problems are just 1 and 16 for Section 4.7. So do those, see if you can practice visualizing pulling these pieces apart, and good luck.